And I know he did not want to hear that, but what can we do? What can we do? Welcome to my channel, I'm Crystal Levi. I'm a singer, songwriter, and rapper, and so much beyond. Yeah. Life is full of adventures. Just stick around and you see how I'm so much more than just the music. There's so much more to me. I'm a daughter of the Most High, a big sister to this guy. 14 years and a lifetime to go. Being a his wife, journeying through this life. We're gonna laugh, learn, and cry together. But first, hit that red button, subscribe, and let's grow together. Hey, what's going on, family? Thank you for joining me for part 2 of my IVF/infertility journey. In part 1, I talked about the original diagnosis until egg retrieval day. In part 2, as I said, and as I ended part 1, I'm going to talk about what happened after egg retrieval day until transfer day. After egg retrieval day, again, I caught COVID-19. So I wasn't able to, anyway, I did an FET, so I wasn't able to do any transfers anyway for about 5 weeks or so out. And so in January we began to schedule the part 2 of this process. And so I came in and we talked about what's next, and I had to get my prescriptions filled for the progesterone oil, for all the tablets, I can't even, estrace, and it was like 5 different things, and I had to get my calendar as well to tell me when I would take or inject said thing. So he came in for that, and we started that process. And so as the process again started, we had to go in for our checkups to check the follicles, to check the follicles actually. And on one side I started developing a cyst, and they had to test it to make sure it was okay. And so once the test came back that it was okay, we moved forward with the transfer day. And mind you, during this time, my lovely husband, who I adore and love deeply, was giving me injections like every other day during this whole time. I know that was extremely hard for him to do, to see me that way, to have to go through this journey, and for him to have to be the one that does it, because I can't stick myself in the back. And so anybody that's on this journey, you know that you have to give yourself a shot on your backside. So he really kept me anchored through this whole process, encouraged me, and I'm so thankful for that, because he's dealing with his own emotions as well, right? And then you're having to still do the things that I can't do. And I really appreciate him serving me and loving on me in my most unlovable times. I'm not gonna cry today, y'all, so I'm gonna move forward to transfer day. So we had transfer day that came up on, I think that was February the 4th. And you think like, finally we're at the road, transfer day. Like, all of these things that we did is in preparation for this big day. And I was really excited. Again, last year I didn't tell my mom anything that was going on. I didn't even tell my mom when I was starting IVF. I didn't tell my mom what was going on to December of 2020. So she's processing all of this stuff, and I feel very bad that I let that much time go on without telling her. I told my dad actually. But I did not tell my mom. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I didn't want to be a burden or, her to feel any kind of way. Kind of just wanted it to happen, and then I can be like, you're a grandma. But that moment never happened. I know she really wants to be a grandma, and I just wanted to just like, you're a grandma now. And I didn't really want to explain how we got there. You know what I mean? But it did not happen that way. And since I knew that she was gonna ask she was asking anyway, like, why are you always so tired? And anybody that's on progesterone, Clomid, last year I was on Clomid as I prepared for the egg retrieval day. Anybody that's on that, the side effect that I feel is sleep drowsiness. That's the word. I feel a lot of drowsiness. The weight gain is real. All the side effects, I felt them. And my husband would say I had Clomid crazies. So yeah, I was going through all the things. I was trying to distance myself from my mom because I didn't want her to ask too many questions. And she was always like, why are you always so tired? And is it the weight? Is it this? She's trying to make things make sense. And when I told her, she was like, okay, that's what's going on. Because she's like, I could tell like you and your husband was just like, felt like y'all had a weight on y'all, and I didn't know what it was. So mamas already know when something ain't going right with their children. So I told her everything in December, so now she's in the loop when I get ready to do egg transfer day. And we're all excited. Let my dad know. He's all excited. Everybody's excited. Like, I'm excited. I'm like, yes, all of this is finally coming to an end. At least I thought. So we had transfer day on February the 4th. I cried like a baby after seeing our little baby Jackson in the ultrasound. My husband cried like a baby. We were just so excited. Everybody was just so excited, and I said I wasn't gonna cry in this video, and I'm crying. Okay, so we were all excited, like this is finally about to happen, and this crazy part is I felt all the symptoms. Like, I felt all of the symptoms. I was extremely tired all the time and like extremely fatigued. Like, I would sit on the couch and just sleep all day. So after catching COVID last year, I completely walked away from my job because like I needed to heal emotionally, one. I needed to heal physically, two. And because I knew so much was coming up next year, well, in 2020, that was coming up in 2021, I needed to prepare myself. And I was working in a warehouse, so obviously working in the warehouse, going through IVF, and transfer day probably is not a good idea. Because you are lifting up heavy boxes, you are doing a lot of work. So my husband and I came to the conclusion that it would be best for me to walk away for this time and to focus solely on this. And so I walked away from my job on January the 12th. I had transfer day on February the 4th. And unfortunately, it was not successful. I hated hearing that news, and I hated telling my husband that news. We were definitely thinking that it had happened because of all the symptoms that I was displaying. Tiredness, nausea, but these are also side effects from progesterone as well. So that's the toughest part. It's like when you're going through this progesterone, anybody that's on progesterone or Clomid and things like that, it makes you feel all the things that come with being pregnant. And so we're thinking like, yeah, this really happened this time. And so like it did not. I had my follow-up appointment on February the 15th where I was supposed to go in for my blood test. My husband did not join me on that appointment because we weren't going to receive the news anyway at that time. And so I went to this appointment by myself just to do the blood the blood work, and then I received a call around 2 o'clock that day. My appointment was at 8:30. I received that call around 2 o'clock that it was not successful, that I was not pregnant. And so I hate this journey. I hate it. But it was not successful, and I had to call my husband and let him know, that it was not successful. And I feel like dirt again. Like, why isn't my body working? Why can't it just happen? And you feel like I feel like the worst person on earth. Like, this is what I was made to do. I was made to be a mom. I was made to procreate, and why isn't it happening? This is the hardest journey ever. And I let my husband know, and I knew, like, he didn't want to hear that news. He was at work. He was driving. And I know he did not want to hear that. What can we do? What can we do? Sucks. And it just sucks. So here we are now, post transfer, post letting the failed transfer, and starting the healing process. We got this news on February 15th. Today's date is March the 30th, so it's like a month and a half out. And now we're planning on what's next. My doctor suggests a hysteroscopy to make sure everything is going right post my laparoscopy. So it's like now you have to emotionally prepare for another invasive procedure, and also thinking about another transfer. I'm just so disconnected. I literally, after getting that news, I heavily looked for a job because I needed something to keep me busy. And not only did I heavily look for a job, I also in the process of looking for counseling to help both me and my husband navigate through this, because this is a lot. This is heavy. And people just expect you to just move forward. It's like, how do I move forward? Who am I now? It's like it's like you're stuck in that moment. It's like you're stuck when you're in this journey. You're always focused on the IVF. You're so stuck in that emotion, and people don't understand. Like, you can't move forward. It's like, who am I moving forward? It's like, who am I now? It's like your life is forever changed by this. And so I'm actively seeking out counseling for us. Our husband is definitely looking forward to it, because we both know that we need help navigating through this space. So this is where we're at now. Again, this is March 30th. I'm looking to have a hysteroscopy next month, which is April, and doing possibly another transfer, pending obviously the results of the hysteroscopy in May of this year. So that's the first part of this journey, and I'm sorry not sorry that I'm so emotional. I'm a human, so whatever. But yeah, I would definitely post more on the subject. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to let me know, or ask me, or like anything, like leave it below. Always feel free to DM me on Insta. And I try to be an open book, because I needed someone to be an open book for me when I just had so many questions. So please don't think anything of it if you just need to reach out. And yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. Anybody that's going through this as well, I'm so sorry. I hate this journey, but it's the journey that I must go through to get to where I want to be. Love y'all. Peace. What were your thoughts on when we did IVF?